It's finally time. We've all suffered through this long winter and beginning of spring, and we've all wanted to do it. I've seen posts about it, I've seen videos about it, podcasts about it, and I know we all want to do it, and I'm finally given the green light. You've landed on the Chili Prepper. We're Zone 7A Western Colorado, and it's time to plant the peppers. Do you want peppers that are going to be the envy of your neighborhood? Peppers that are going to last you all season long? Peppers that you can freeze dry? Peppers that you can dehydrate? Peppers that you can make spaghetti sauce out of? Stick with me. I'm going to show you the techniques that I've come to adopt over the last 20 plus years of growing peppers that give me giant pepper harvests every time. Now, there's certain things that you really need to do when you're up potting and planting peppers. So first thing I want to get out of the way is soil. You've got to have good soil. Now, you're going to see in more videos to come, or if you watched last year's videos, I grow a lot of peppers in the giant pots that are all around me right now. But I really like to use these big horse troughs. So the main amendment I use every year is compost. We've already gone through all these beds, applied a thick, typically it's 1 bag per horse trough every year. Sometimes it's 2, especially in the early years when you're getting a lot of soil sinkage. For this bed in particular, it was 1 bag of the Eco brand. That's what I use. It's Colorado based. I'm not sponsored by anybody. Throw a bag of compost in here, along with how I took care of my soil last year. Now, over the winter, I go through and I put a lot of pine shavings on top, give it a thick blanket. And I do come out and water it a couple times every winter, no matter what, because there's microbes and worms and all that stuff down in this soil. And raised bed soil tends to stay a little warmer, and we have really mild winters here. I say that, and then look, we're June 5th, and I'm finally planting my peppers out. So what I've grabbed here today to show you for the demonstration is the Full Jew jalapeno pepper. It's supposed to be a heatless jalapeno pepper, so I'm kind of excited about that. Because when I have jalapeno poppers, I don't want heat. There's a time and a place for heat. And for me, jalapeno poppers isn't one of them. I enjoy jalapeno poppers. So number 1 is soil. If you're gonna grow in the big pots, either use my mix of 1/3 peat moss, 1/3 perlite, 1/3 compost. You're still gonna have to add nutrients. We'll talk about that in a minute. Or get you a really good reputable bagged soil brand. I've done a video on that. I'll link it at the end if you want to go back and see it. I highly recommend a few of the brands that are out there, but get you a really good starting point. Soil is the lifeline of your plants, and I don't hear enough people talk about it. They talk about fertilizer and they talk about all these other things that you do to try to get a big harvest, but it starts with the soil. If you don't have a good base, you're not going to have a good harvest. So make sure you take care of your soil. Now in these, I go, I'm not going to say strictly organic, but in my big horse troughs, I do mostly organic. Basically compost, bone meal, blood meal, and yes, a little bit of fertilizer. So no matter what else I say in this video, remember it starts with good soil. I'm going to bring you over here close and we're going to go through what else I do at planting time. First thing I'm going to tell you is I strip all these bottom leaves. And I know a lot of you are really nervous about doing that. Now at transplant time, when I'm going into their final resting home here, I'm going to take off all of these. I mean, that's what, a good half a hand, something like that. You can go higher. So we're going to go through and strip all this lower leaves. Just like I tell you on pretty much any other plant, you don't want any leaves dragging the soil. So I'll start by stripping these. I'm going to get them in here deep. Then I'm going to adjust, and I might have to strip some more. By the time these are older, I'm going to strip all the leaves up to where it's wying here. These are going to look like palm trees. And there's a reason for that. Trust me, it'll serve you well. Then what we're going to do, loosen us up some soil and dig you a big old hole. Okay, now I've watched videos just like I'm sure you have, and I've seen a lot of people talk about how you can bury peppers deep, kind of like the tomato method, and they'll grow roots from the stem and all that. I can't honestly say I've ever seen that, so I don't know if that's true or not. I'm leaning on the side that it's not. So I do plant my peppers deep, but I don't go deep like I do with, say, tomatoes, We talked about that. If you want to watch my other video, talked about my thoughts on that. Pretty much where this brown barky part of the stem is, that's about how deep I'm going to go. So get you a nice big hole dug, plenty of room. You can always knock some soil in there if you want to raise the level of what the pepper's going in at. It's harder to keep digging. After that, I like to put in an all-purpose fertilizer. This one is a 312 Secret Sauce. Actually, not Secret Sauce. I'll link what it is. what it is. But trust me, 312 works great for peppers. So I'm going to take me a handful of 312. If you can't find 312, you can use just a 222 or a 555. It's not probably going to work as well, but it's still going to work. And we're going to add a lot of fertilizer through the year anyway if you're doing this properly. Then I throw a good handful or more of worm castings down in the bottom of that hole. Now, worm castings are not some magical potion or anything. I've used them for years. Seems like I get good results when I use them. It does help improve the soil, so I'm going to keep using them. And then we're going to mix that in. Now, I like to keep mixing, as I put stuff down in this hole, I like to keep mixing it in, because once these roots break through, which you're going to see in a minute, they're all on the outside of the pot, I don't want these roots hitting straight fertilizer or anything that might put them into shock or overload them. I want them to grow through this mixture that I'm doing down here. Hang on to your tags. Don't forget to mark these. Trust me, I forget a lot. So just go around your pot. Now these have already been up potted into the 1 gallon. And then sandwich, I put fingers on both sides of the stem. You don't want to put any stress on the stem. Flip it upside down, give it a squeeze, and then just start shaking and lift, and it'll slide right off. Now you can see all the roots. And actually we got to these at a really good time. So then what I'm going to do, especially on the bottom, go through, gently squeeze and around the sides, and then just run your fingers back and forth and loosen up. Run your fingers back and forth, loosen up some of those roots. Then we're going to add what nobody seems to be able to say, including myself, but mycorrhizal fungi, or fungi. And it's just a powder, and we're just going to dust those roots, put the rest in the hole, and then drop that thing right down in the hole and give it a push so it seats in there good. At this point, this is really crucial. I see a lot of people that don't spend the time packing that soil back in around these open air gaps on the sides of the plant. Will it kill it? No. But will it set you back? Maybe. So go through, backfill everything, get all your corners mashed down in there, and really work the soil around, because this is this plant's new home. The main reason that I plant these as deep as I showed you isn't because of the roots. It's because, like yesterday, I got a huge windstorm, and it never fails. Right after you plant out, something like that's going to happen. It's going to give this plant more strength. It's unbelievably important that you support these plants. In the big pots, like what I have behind you, I like to use the tomato cages for my peppers. I like to use these, I don't even know, I think they're fiberglass, but I like to use these posts that you can buy for my horse trough gardens. They just seem to work best. So right after you put it in, I do go onto that root ball, because that soil has been very compact. Slide that pole down in there. And most of your pepper plants are only gonna, the main stem that you're strapping is only gonna get as tall as that pole anyway. Now I'm gonna show you a secret. I've been waiting, because honestly I was gonna do like Amazon monetize or something so I could get paid for showing you this secret weapon. But no, I decided I'll just show you anyway. One of my favorite weapons in the garden my wife bought me. It's called the tape tool. Now there is a drawback to it, and I'm going to show you what that is. It's not, nothing is 100%. But check this out. Instead of buying all those stupid wire ties, all that kind of stuff that's out there, you've got, and it's plastic that's around there. And all you got to do is go around it, squeeze, it staples itself together. Try not to yank your plant down. And now you have a really awesome ring that's going to hold that pepper plant up. And as this plant gets bigger, you can just add the straps to it. Okay, so for the not 100% part. Now, to give you, I guess before I go any further, let me just kind of show you how or why it works. Okay, so you have your tape roll inside. I've had this thing for 2 years. It came with so many tape rolls, it'll probably last till I die. It's absolutely amazing. It comes with a box of staples too that I haven't even put a dent in. But you drop your tape in there, you run it through until it pops up in the front. Now the biggest downfall to this tool, if you can see it here, let's notice where the tape came out right here. After you staple it, it folds itself back in. Now I don't know if I've been doing something wrong for 2 years, but that's just the way it's been. And that's, the little cutters are down there too, so I think it has to. So you have to have yourself something. I like to use these, and it's because I don't have fingernails. Just flip that right underneath it, and then flip the, go right underneath it, flip the tape up to where you can grab it. Then all you got to do is pull the tape up and then stick it underneath this little spike, and there's a little button right here. The button puts the little tooth in it and holds it, and it's ready to strap again. And again, you just, as you push, it lets out, you squeeze, it staples it together and cuts it. This thing's a life changer. It's a game changer in the garden. I can't stress enough how much you're gonna love this, even though you have to flip it up and do that each time. Saves you a ton of money. It straps awesome. It doesn't give it a tiny little wire that's gonna mess up the stem. Just my tip to you, you're gonna love it. It's called the tape tool. If I remember, I'll put a link down below. Okay, back down here, so you can see the level where my soil level's at and what I stripped off. So I'm gonna take off even more of these because I don't want anything on this plant touching any soil. Okay, this is probably the point when the ones who want to argue with me about topping the plant is going to come into play. I do not top, period. I've done tests on it over the years, side by side, topped one, didn't top the other. What typically happens is the one that's topped gives me more peppers, but they're smaller. The one that I don't top has sometimes more weight in total, but much bigger, larger peppers. So they equal out, it cancels each other out. I'd rather let the plant grow like it's supposed to. So I don't top, you can top. It's not gonna hurt it. You do have to worry about your growing season because it's gonna set you back just a little bit. So like I said, zone 7A here. I mean, if you're in one of the colder zones, you probably don't wanna top. If you're in one of the hotter zones and you've got plenty of growing time, yeah, you could. It's not gonna hurt, but it's not gonna give you a benefit in my opinion either. Do it, don't do it, you do you, I'll do me, it doesn't matter. Last thing I'm gonna do, this plant has been growing with me now for months. We have flowers up here. I'm gonna go through and pluck all the flowers. This one even has jalapenos on it. And I know it hurts, but I'm gonna pull the jalapenos too. Reason being, I want this plant to go back into growth mode. I want it to focus on the green foliage, and I don't want it to focus on any of the flowers or the fruit yet. I still want this plant to keep growing upward and get really strong so it can support a ton of fruit down the road. Now, I'm only gonna do this for probably another 2 weeks. Once it gets established in here, you're gonna see this thing start growing like crazy. 2-3 weeks maybe. I mean, you could even go up to a month. You could go without doing it. It's still gonna work just fine, but I like those big giant jalapenos. Like I said, I'm after jalapeno poppers. That's the way I grow giant peppers, and a lot of them. Stick with me throughout the season, and I'm gonna show you the updates on how these do. Over here to my right, your left, I've got a bunch of beds I'll show you in a garden update video that we already started planting out all the bell peppers. Yeah, it's probably a little early where I'm at anyway, but most of your nights The lowest I'm seeing is like tomorrow night, a 53-degree night. You want to wait until you're about 55 degrees and above at night and you hold that temperature. My days are getting really hot here. My soil temperature is way above that because it's in raised beds. That's just how I do it, and I wanted to pass it along to you so you could have some great pepper harvest too. Hope you got something out of this. Like I always say, you don't have to be a prepper to be prepared, and the garden is the biggest prep of your life. I'm the Chili Prepper, and I'll see you on the next one.